So a lot of you think of artificial intelligence and you think artificial and it just makes you feel bad about the idea of using AI in your business just because of how we frame that in our mind. So I'd like you to start thinking about AI as amazing intelligence that it gives you instead of artificial intelligence. Amazing intelligence is what it provides to us. I would go as far as saying that AI is as big of a concept, if not bigger, than when the internet came out. I remember when the internet first came out and they would give away floppy disks at the grocery store for America Online. And I remember during that time period that there were people that didn't really give the internet a whole lot of attention. They said, this isn't something that I really need to learn to use, and they stiff-armed it. They avoided it. And about 10 years later, all of those people got kind of a rude awakening that everything was going to be on the internet. And since then, we've learned that it's absolutely all going online and not anywhere else. So that being said, I believe that AI is very similar in the sense that we can avoid using it now, but the reality is that in the next 5 years, we're going to be forced to use it. It is already being built into almost every single program that is available. My personal fitness app and tracking device, I use a Whoop, which has AI built into it now. When I sign into my computer, my Microsoft has AI. Yes, I love Microsoft. I am not an Apple user. And also, it is in every Google search that you do now, you get an AI response. So you are going to see this become a larger and larger part of every single thing that we are using. And I believe that you're going to start to see it even in hardware that we use in our homes. And as that happens, you have no choice but to embrace it. Otherwise, you will be left trying to figure out how to operate in a world that is largely driven by AI. I want to share with you what exactly I'm doing with AI in my business right now. See, a lot of people, and even myself, when they first got started with this, thought, you know what, there's copyright issues, there's all of these things that are unknowns that we're concerned about. We're not really sure, like, what's going to be the end result of all of this. I'm here to tell you that if you're getting caught up in the weeds, worried and concerned about all of the what ifs that might or might not happen with AI, you are going to get left behind. I'm going to urge you to start building a habit of using AI every single day in your business. When I first started using it, I started by just incorporating it into the things that I was already doing on a daily basis. So whether it was writing an email or writing some type of communication, I was using it to help expedite my writing. I've never been a strong writer. It's an area that I'd love to get better. And I realize the amount of time and effort that it takes for me to get better at writing really slows down the overall process. So by using AI, I can feed my thoughts to it, I can share my ideas, and it can help me to become a more efficient writer. It can also allow me to make sure that everything is grammatically correct, which I personally am not very good at. We're really just scratching the surface when we look at AI as a writing tool. Yes, it can do that, but it can also do so much more. After you've adopted it as a writing tool, the thing that I would encourage you to start playing around with is how is it that you can use it to look at analytics or data that you currently have in your business that you have not had time to look at and understand. One of the ways that we used it in our company was we imported our call logs into this. We wanted to see, when are we receiving most of our phone calls? When is it that we are missing most of our phone calls? Which days of the week are busiest? Which team members are taking the most calls? And by just dropping a spreadsheet in, AI was able to give us all of that information and more. It allowed us to take our business that was missing about 10% of our missed calls, and we were actually able to get the number of missed calls that we had in our business down below 5%, which is very, very strong. And if you want to grow your business and you're in the service industry, making sure that you're answering your phone calls is key. So I would encourage you to look at it from a perspective as a business owner or CEO of what am I doing every single day that this can help me to just be faster at. And even if you didn't use the results, even if you don't trust it, even if you feel like there's copyright issues or whatever the case may be, you don't have to use it. But I would tell you, you have to start using AI. You don't have to use everything that it gives you, because if you don't, you are going to get left behind. If you do not master this, then you're not going to be able to serve your team. And if you're not serving your team, we know what the result is of that. So let's talk about how we actually do that. First off, you need to master it, or you need to at least get yourself a good foundation before you start teaching this to your team. I've already mentioned what we can do individually, but I would even start to play with it and just make a prompt every morning when you wake up to help you get into the habit of using it every day. And when you have that daily habit, then it's time for you to start teaching this to your team. So in our company at Doggy Zone, we look at AI as a tool, not something that does all of our work for us. We are in a high-touch business. People can tell when things have been written by AI, so we want to make sure that the things that we are producing are things that are natural and that are organic. But this does help us to be more organized, and it helps us to get our message across in very clear ways. So I've taught my team to start incorporating it into their routine in their writing when they are building something that's a marketing piece. It will help us to create the structure that we would ordinarily take a really, really long time to do. When you start to get really comfortable with using AI, it's easy to fall into the trap of just throwing everything in there and just taking whatever output it gives you. I would tell you that it's really important as you progress in using AI and learning the skill of utilizing AI, that you make sure that the voice that you are utilizing in your communications is authentic. I think that that's one of the biggest areas that gets missed, is people just throw everything into AI. They're not authentic in what's being said because they're ultimately just using what everybody else has said. So my recommendation to you is make this part of your culture. Make this something that you communicate with your team about on a regular basis. We had a meeting 2 weeks ago, and we took some time during that meeting to actually go through and practice some stuff. I would encourage you to do the same thing, because practice is what is going to help us to get the repetitions that we need to master this. And in order to master it, we've got to put in a lot of repetitions. AI is constantly changing, and we need to make sure that we're in a position to change with it. If we're not, the result is we're left behind. Last thing that I would say to you is the world is changing at an increasingly fast rate. I was at an event last week, maybe it was last month. I don't even remember when it was at this point, but not too long ago. The big topic was the concern that people had around AI and all of the disruption that it can create. Robots, the Tesla robot, comes out this year. I believe that you'll be able to purchase that for about $30,000 a year, or $30,000, not a year, but $30,000 for a robot. I think Peter Diamandis said that there's expected to be about 2 billion robots on Earth by 2030. That's 5 years away. We need to make sure that we are incorporating AI into our life and are getting prepared for all of the changes that are going to come as robots come into the picture more and as AI becomes more prevalent. That being said, if you are afraid of AI, send me a message. I'd love to talk to you and share with you what I think you can do to get yourself more comfortable with it in a way that's going to support you, that's going to support your business, and that's going to help you to keep moving forward so that you don't get left behind.